Boy, oh boy. It's been a few hours since the race has been over, but the results have changed for the Austrian Grand Prix. You may be wondering, sitting here wondering, the race has been over. The checkered flag flew hours ago. How could this thing be over? Well, that is a process that started over 3 hours ago when Aston Martin decided to launch a protest. What were they protesting? At the time, it was not clear, but they protested the race result. They were protesting the number of track limits that were enforced during the race. Of course, track limits has been in discussion all weekend, whether it was qualifying or the sprint, whatever it was. Sprint qualifying track limits was a huge thing at Austria, turns 9 and 10 specifically, but also other areas of the track. And of course, during qualifying, if you exceed track limits, you lose your lap. Your time is deleted. We saw that affect Sergio Perez in the Grand Prix qualifying. We saw it affect Lewis Hamilton in the sprint qualifying. So, point being, there was a lot of track limits this weekend. And in the race, I think the FIA said they had to investigate like 1,200 occurrences of track limits. That doesn't mean it was enforced 1,200 times, but they looked at it that many times. So Aston Martin launches this protest, says we think that our guys didn't do it a certain amount of times and other people did it more and you guys didn't catch it. So they decided we're going to review it. We're going to review every single possible track limits infraction. So they went back, they looked, and a lot of penalties were handed out. Let's read the penalties and who got penalized for track limits and how it added on to their time. So some drivers got them, some drivers didn't. And here are the drivers that got time penalties and how long it was. The time penalties were for Carlos Sainz for 10 seconds, Lewis Hamilton for 10 seconds, Pierre Gasly for 10 seconds, Alex Albon for 10 seconds, Esteban Ocon for 30 seconds, Logan Sargent for 10 seconds, Nick DeVries for 15 seconds, and Yuki Tsunoda for 5 seconds. That is 8 drivers. I lost track. That's how many penalties there were. 8, and that's not even including what happened during the race. Sainz got one in race. Hamilton got one in race. I can't remember. There were a lot of them. A lot happened in race of people who got track limits penalties, and they still happened after the race, or they were enforced. So, of course, this shuffles up the finishing results. This shifts some people down, moves people up if they didn't get penalties. So let's see the new results. The old results are going to be on the left here, and here are the new results of the race and the points. Max Verstappen, still your winner. Charles Leclerc, still second. Sergio Perez, still your podium. Lando Norris moves up from P5 to P4. Fernando Alonso goes up from 6th to 5th. Carlos Sainz drops from 4th down to 6th after a 10-second penalty was enforced. George Russell jumps his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton flip-flops with Russell down to 8th. Lance Stroll goes from 10th up on into 9th. And Pierre Gasly drops from 9th to 10th. Alex Albon still 11th. Joe Guan Yu jumps up to 12th, or maybe he was already 12th. Sargent stays in 13th. Ocon drops down to 14th. And then, 15th Bottas, 16th Piastri, 17th De Vries, 18th Magnussen, 19th Tsunoda. Those were your finishers. And Hülkenberg finished 20th. But yeah, a lot of penalties, track limits, a discussion all weekend, as I said. And I think I said this on my Friday qualifying video. If you're going to complain about track limits, if you're going to be a team or a driver that complains about the use of track limits, then fight for a rule change, in my opinion. And what would that be? Well, if it's paved, use it. If there is a paved area of the track, you can use it, because if you go too wide, it's a self-inflicted penalty. And if F1, the FIA, doesn't want you using a certain track super wide, put a natural penalizer there. Gravel, grass, something that will slow the cars down or make the drivers lose a ton of time on their lap so you don't have to delete it and spend every 5 seconds enforcing track limits. I get that, there's a bunch of rules and stuff and, history, whatever it may be. But if you don't want to deal with changing the results 4 hours after a race, if you don't want to deal with sending people to the back and qualifying right at the end of a session, just put in natural track limits enforcers and you don't have to deal with this whole white line stuff. So that's just my opinion. I'm sure a lot of you disagree, and that's fine with me. Let me know in the comments why you think I'm wrong, or if you agree with me, why you think I'm right. But those were the big changes for the Austrian Grand Prix. Lots of shuffles post-race, which is pretty crazy, but yeah, that's all I got. NASCAR Chicago might start in the next couple of hours here. There's a lot of rain in the area in Chicago, so we'll see. We'll see if that race actually happens today, and if not, we'll see if it happens tomorrow. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. And yeah, have a great rest of your day.